Hello, I'm Pastor Dave, the pastor of New Life, a Global Methodist Church in State College. This is our sermon recap that we post every Monday morning to help refresh your memory of the message, as well as to maybe help you apply the message to your life or answer those next step questions from the insert. Now, this past Sunday, we looked at Mark chapter 7, verses 1 through 8, and verses 14 through 23. And it's in this passage that Jesus tells the crowd that it is from what is inside of them that defiles them, not something from the outside. And this is part of our summer series on phrases that aren't in the Bible. And this week's phrase was, cleanliness is next to godliness. As much as that has a scriptural feel to it, it's not in the Bible. Now, when we look at this passage, it's important to remember that cleanliness is a good thing. There's a public health aspect to it. There's a mental side to this, too, that typically you feel better when you're in a cleaner environment than when things are messy or dirty. And when we look at the Old Testament, this is where we get a lot of the passages about cleanliness, especially when it comes to the ceremonial and public laws as found in the Pentateuch. Now, when it comes to faith by the time of Jesus, we find that ritualistic cleaning was a part of religious life. And this makes sense because it is in the Old Testament. And there are faiths that still hold to some form of ritualistic cleaning. And we do to some extent as well when you think of baptism. But what a lot of this was taking a practical thing and a practical lesson and making it into a big deal. Because there were reasons behind this. If you look at the priestly garbs, yes, they were expensive, they were nice, so yes, you would want to be clean before you handle them, just so they wouldn't get dirty or wear down quicker. And it's the same with religious objects, of treating them as holy, meaning treating them differently than normal objects in the world. But by this point, and this is what Jesus points out to the Pharisees, is that the meaning behind the actions was lost. They were doing them because they were supposed to do them. And this is a reminder that tradition can lose some of its original purpose over time. This is when you start doing things because you've always done them, not because they made sense anymore. And this permeates institutions, it permeates our families. Of, you have to do something because you've always done it. But there's another side of this as well. And that is that sometimes something can be clean, but can have faults on the inside. And we know this with phrases like about inner beauty versus outer beauty. And we know this as well because something can look really nice on the outside, but have problems on the inside, like a house that's been flipped or a used car that's been well cleaned, but has a mechanical fault. And it's the same for people as well. And this is recorded both in the Old and New Testaments, that outer actions do not always reflect what's important on the inside. You can have the outward appearance of piety, but have evil in one's heart. Because evil isn't based on external factors, or doesn't really always show itself by appearance or clothing, but it's something that's on the inside. And really, when we look at this, we're reminded of something we know all too well, that appearances can be deceiving. Just because something looks right or looks good or looks godly doesn't mean that it is. And when it comes to faith, if our actions are not godly and our intentions behind them are not godly, it doesn't matter how clean or good they look. So there you go. Hopefully that helps refresh your memory of the message. But if you would like, you can rewatch the full service on Facebook for the next 30 days or watch the sermon when it's posted on YouTube. But as always, we worship at 10 a.m. at the Center Learning Community Charter School located at 2643 West College Avenue in State College. We stream the service on Facebook. We post on YouTube. But until next time, I'm Pastor Dave, and I hope you find a way of applying God's Word into your life this week.